Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Before we begin, we're going to take a few moments to collect ourselves and to relax before we engage into our discussion. What we need to do is to focus now on bringing positive energy into our lives and into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We have all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our lives will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we can do this is by changing our outlook, meeting every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism, and once you do this, you will see a change in yourself. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life. Family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons why your life is amazing. You will see the change. You will be changed. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful and think positive. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. This is Gloria Lee, the moderator for the show Women of Courage. Wherever you are in the world, I need you to know one thing right now. You are amazing. I know you might be upset. I know you might be hurting. And I know you might be frustrated. I know because all of these things happened to me. I was homeless for 2 years, and all I had was a computer, my son, and a car. I want you to know you still have a purpose in life, and it is my job to help you believe that again. Do you want to believe? Can you see that the divorce was not meant to take you out? Can you believe that the lost house and the lost job is a setup for something greater? By the end of this broadcast, you'll be injected with so much that you cannot help but believe again. And I am going to help you do just that. Are you ready? I got some things I want to share with you. And I will even make suggestions on books and activities that you can implement, which will ultimately bring healing and wholeness to you. If you are ready to be healed, if you're ready to be whole, just jot down the pointers I give and watch your life transform. No matter what happened, no matter whose fault it was, today is a new day, and your time to live and be free is now. Join me in this journey to wholeness. Your time for total healing is now. Today you shall recover. Wholeness, healness, and peacefulness is in the mind. That is where all battles for life end and begin. The Women of Courage show is being broadcast by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help you problem solve, to help you dream again, to help you believe that anything is possible. We want you to believe that you do not have to marry the first man you meet just to get someone to take care of you. You do not have to live a life of drudgery. You can educate yourself. All you have to do is learn to read competently. We want you to take a chance on yourself. Stop believing all the soothsayers around you that have never left a state in their lives. People who do not have courage to fly. People who only think of lying, cheating, and stealing. You can live an exciting life. All you have to do is believe that you can make your dreams come true. You do not have to go to bed with someone you despise day in and day out. You have the right to marry someone that you can talk to someone that believes in you and has faith in you as a human being. In other words, you do not have to settle for just anyone. But what you must do is strive toward your goal. You must be goal oriented. You must organize yourself. You must be clear about what you want in life and why you want such a life. All of us are made up of dreams. As our dreams unfold in our lives, our spirit soars. Realizing our dreams becomes a problem because oftentimes we are beaten down by our friends and family. We are beaten down at school by people laughing at us because of our shoe size, our ear size, our breast size, the clothes we wear, etc. We are beaten down by people saying nothing will come of our lives. We are beaten down when our mothers and grandmothers constantly say that we're going to be just like our father, an inmate in prison. Many of us are also discouraged when our mothers are inattentive. She is wrapped up in her new boyfriend. But life anew is possible. It is my job to encourage you to go as far as you can dream and as far as your dreams can take you. It is my job to get you to believe in life again. I am sick and tired of people failing at life just because they are around negative speaking and negative acting people. Do not let the failure of other people make you lose confidence in yourself. Yes, you may be surrounded by poverty, but you must look for a way out. The book, If You Believe in God, You Do Not Belong in Prison, will help you. What you must do above all else is learn to read competently. You must read, and read. Anyone who laughs at you for reading, you need to leave that person alone. I do not care if it's your mother. Anyone who discourages you, you are to stop all association. Man is not different than plants. We need encouragement to grow as plants need water to thrive. You are to leave foolish, stupid people alone. Their ignorance will weigh you down or even get you killed. Sit down and think how you can avoid these people, especially if they're in your family. If you are overwhelmed with the tiring feeling that feels as if you're carrying a bag of stone around every morning when you get out of bed and think how you'll have to spend another living life you're not passionate about, the books I suggest are the perfect solution for your unique needs. Not only will we help you realize why these feelings overwhelm you and what you can do to change it, but they will also teach you how to live a life of strength, courage, fearlessness in order to realize all of your dreams. If you are lacking the attitude and psychology, proper resource or vision to make your dreams a reality, combined with dissatisfaction with the execution of your plans, but you remain firmly dedicated to making your ambition a reality and creating the life you deserve, you will certainly derive the most benefit from professional, incredible content within these books. Contents that will assist you in achieving the results that you are after. You are never to give up on yourself. Are you ready to leave your future to chance? Of course not. Take your life in your hand and learn all the necessary tools, mindset, strategies used by the men and women of courage, used in order to live the life of their dream. Change your life with our book starting today. I have discussed reading on several of my shows. I made these discussions because I believe reading is important. I think reading is a fundamental function in life. I truly believe the more one reads, the greater the life a person can potentially have. This is why I'm going to discuss reading again. I do not think I can talk enough about reading. Reading is one of the most important activities that a person can participate in. A world of information is available to you when you read. This information can help you shape and change your life. Reading can instruct you on how to conduct a conversation at an embassy, how to talk to people that you do not know, how to talk to people about everyday subjects that they would enjoy. Reading can help you learn how to fish. Reading can help you learn how to solve math problems. Reading can help you learn a new profession. Reading can help you learn how to eat better, how to meet people, how to select a hobby. The field is endless to what reading can offer you. What I want to do today is to help you to develop a conviction for reading. Let's explore the word conviction. The word conviction is a noun. The word conviction has two meanings. One is a formal declaration that someone is guilty of a criminal offense made by the verdict of a jury or the decision of a judge in a court of law. For example, one can say in a sentence, she had a previous conviction for a similar offense. So in this situation, we know we're talking about someone that is a felon. The second meaning for the word conviction is a firmly held belief or an opinion. This is the meaning that we are going to consider today. Think about a firmly held belief or an opinion. Religion is a firmly held conviction. What we want to do today is to develop a firmly held conviction that reading can change our lives. Therefore, we should read every day. I'm going to try to prove to you today that if you begin a lifetime of reading, these efforts will change your life forever, and that your efforts in reading will impact your family more than you can imagine. Because when your children see you read, they will learn the value of reading from your behavior. Studies have shown that the third grade is the tipping point for future success as a learner and a member of society. Up to the third grade, we learn to read. After the third grade, we read to learn. If this critical skill is not mastered by age 8, people not only fall behind in school, they fall behind in life. And the proof of that is in our prison system. Our prisoners are filled with people who do not know how to read. The men in prisons are fathers, sons, and brothers needed in our homes. The women that are in prison are the mothers and daughters and sisters that are needed in the home. Reading will restore men and women. Reading will restore families, and reading will heal the wounds caused by the inability to read. Reading is not a simple behavior. Reading is intricate in formulating how you want to live your life. When you cannot read, you will not pay your bills correctly. You will not buy the right car. You will not know how to purchase a home. You will not know how to complete your income tax. You will waste money in bars. You will purchase cheap items to bolster your self esteem. You will live in a poor neighborhood. You will not have a savings account or checking account because you don't know how to manage banking and checking accounts. You will pay more money for goods and services. You will be at the mercy of your fellow man. Your children may or may not go to college. Many of the girls will become pregnant and never graduate from high school. You will suffer with many illnesses brought on because of a poor diet or poor eating habits and tradition. You will become more and more adamant and shun change, all because you do not have the knowledge you need from reading. The Women of Courage show is dedicated to improving the lives of people we serve. This is why we have designed the Wall Project to provide books for people in prison. The purpose of this program is to try and rehabilitate prisoners before they are paroled. We want to change the way that they think, and books can help do that. The reason why so many men and women end up in prison is because they are ill prepared to assume the responsibility of adulthood and they cannot read. They are illiterate. Because of their illiteracy, they cannot find jobs or express themselves without violence. Once rejected from the job market, they turn to crime to make a living and they turn to drugs to bolster their self esteem. If the men and the women in prison are not rehabilitated while in prison, when they are paroled, they will not be able to compete in the job market and they will repeat the same behavior. People will be killed on the streets, homes will be broken into, and elderly women will be murdered in their beds. Now imagine you are a student in school and you have been assigned to give a speech before your class. You've never given a speech before, so what do you do? Do you sit and fret about giving the speech, or do you seek information that will tell you how to give that speech? If you are smart, you will go to the library and ask a librarian if she can give you some good books on how to give a speech. Whether you are a student in school or an adult at work or in your community, there are times in our lives when we are asked or told to give a speech. There is no way out of it. No matter how you feel about it, you have the assignment and you have to do it. This probably wouldn't be a problem except for the fact that public speaking is the number one fear of most people. However you feel about doing this task, reading a book on how to give a speech can be life changing. Reading a book about giving a speech that can make your task easier and your life easier, more comfortable, and less stressful if you follow the experience of the author. To seek the advice of a librarian, you learn that reading can help you out of your problem, that reading can give you the solution to some of the problems that you are experiencing in life. Now, here is another example of the consequences of reading. Imagine it is around 1938 or 1939 in Germany. A book was written that changed the lives of 80 million people. Let me say this again. There was a book written in Germany that ended up changing the lives of 80 million people. A man in Germany wrote a book in 1937. The book he wrote changed the lives of millions of people all around the world, every ethnic group. The man's name was General Heinz Wilhelm, last name spelled Guderian. He was a military theorist. The title of the book that he wrote was Achtung. I would say that it's translated as the word attention. Now, the book was not a bestseller, but it caught the attention of one man in Germany. That man was Hitler. Hitler was just coming to power in Germany, and he had made up his mind that he wanted to invade Poland and Czechoslovakia. And he was trying to figure out how he could do it successfully. And this book gave him the idea of how to conquer these two countries. What a book for Hitler to read. Hitler learned to use the airplane for artillery. The book also gave Hitler the idea of how to use tanks, how to keep tanks that were in constant communication with one another via a radio. This had never been done in warfare. Although France had the superior tank, the tanks were not managed the way that Hitler decided to manage them. Hitler developed the Panzer unit as a superior fighting force, and he did this by studying the attack techniques described in the book. The information written in the book by this general changed military history forever. If Hitler had not read this book, the course of human history would have been much, much different. Think of all the changes in the world that have taken place because some man or woman read a particular book that spurred them on to invent a new way of doing something, or a new invention like the wash machine or the elevator or the fire hydrant. So far, we have discussed how reading affects people in their daily lives, how reading affects people that commit crimes, and how reading affects people experiencing a social upheaval. Now we need to decide how reading is going to affect you. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now for my break.
Having a goal or a plan to accomplish something isn't enough. You need to dig deeper than that. You need to tap into your subconscious to begin to reprogram your mind. And you do this through positive affirmations. Short statements that you repeat every day, regardless of your goal, how big or little. Whether your goal is to make more money, be a better boyfriend or girlfriend, or find a better job, whatever your goal is, you need to come up with short, positive statements about that goal and repeat it each morning. Start by doing this for 5 minutes. And once you begin to do this, you will start to see how the subconscious and conscious mind can work together. You have the potential to do amazing things. And through positive affirmations, you start to build that confidence. Think of all the goals that you've made in the past. Think about the mindset you were in at that moment. It was one of confidence and control. I will be successful in my job. I will make my next promotion. I will meet the love of my life. These are words of affirmation. Now tell me, what are your words? Resolve is defined as successfully finding the answer to something or making a decision about something. And this is tough for some people, but this is one of the most important things you can do in your life, is deciding firmly and declaring what your purpose will be in this life. Now, you might not have the best job, the best education, or the best family situation, but the starting point to making that change is showing resolve, deciding, what do you want to change in your life? Once you make that decision, you can now focus on what steps are needed to make that change. What steps today can you make to see that change happen? Remember, you are the women of courage. Today, I want to talk about self-control, the restraint exercised over one person's impulses, emotions, or desires. It is easy nowadays to lose control. We eat too much, drink too much. Everything is accessible to us. The hard part in life is finding that balance, that presence of mind to know what is good for you and to live with that discipline. I know through my own journey that when I am balanced, when I'm showing self-restraint, I start moving better. I start thinking better. I become more confident in who I am. And that's what I want you to think about. What can you do to become more balanced, to act on need and not on emotion? Remember, you are the women of courage.
We are again going to discuss self-esteem. Self-esteem really needs to be investigated and understood by us all. Self-esteem is essential to our success, and low self-esteem can explain our failures. We need to know how we feel about ourselves. We need to know what we think about ourselves. It is essential because when we do not like ourselves, other people can tell it, and they can use our low self-esteem against us. This is especially true in prostitution and domestic violence. It is not a good feeling to know that you accept taking someone's abuse because we do not stand up for ourselves. Well, this can change with the help of a psychologist or a psychiatrist and self-examination. Reading is essential to helping you deal with low self-esteem. Why? Because there are tons of information on the market that can help you lift your self-esteem every day of the week. This is why the Women of Courage show encourages reading. Apparently, upon analysis, self-esteem explains why we find unmarried women with 4 and 5 children, all having different fathers, and the males are often referred to as baby's daddy. Self-esteem also explains why a woman will repeatedly have sex with a married man, why women sell their bodies for a man, and why women allow their children to be raised by their boyfriends. Upon examination, we see all sorts of evilness sprouting from the lack of self-esteem. There are women who date men for 15 years and refer to these men as their fiancés, knowing these men have no intentions of marrying them. They are just being used as objects. Again, what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Self-esteem means feeling good about yourself, that you are happy with yourself. Although self-esteem is not a fixed entity, meaning it fluctuates throughout our lives, we still should note under what circumstances when our esteem changes significantly. Making note of changes in our well-being will help us determine when a situation is not good for us. When our self-esteem dips low, when does your self-esteem dip drastically? What challenging situations lower your self-esteem? Your goal is to establish a foundation of healthy self-esteem that is consistently steady and unwavering across all areas of your life. Make a list of what affects self-esteem throughout the day. Co-workers, jobs, school, home, hobbies, clubs, activities, organizations, friends, etc. When are you comfortable and when are you not comfortable? Never sometimes or always. When do you like yourself with people? When do you not like yourself with certain people? Why can't you speak your mind? Are you afraid to express yourself? Are you afraid that you're going to be laughed at or rebuffed? It is when you feel bad is where you must concern yourself with understanding. Self-esteem reflects an individual's overall subjective, emotional evaluation of their own self-worth. It is a decision made by an individual as an attitude toward the self. Self-esteem encompasses beliefs about oneself, as well as an emotional state such as a triumph, despair, pride, or shame. Self-esteem is viewed two ways. Either you like yourself and have a high or good self-esteem, or you dislike yourself and have a low self-esteem. Problems enter the picture when an individual has low self-esteem. Then their behavior is predicated on making others like them. When a person has low self-esteem, they torment themselves, always thinking they are less than others. They need to be greatly improved or must do anything so people will like them. These are various dangerous thoughts. They can constantly lead to disaster. Self-esteem is intrinsically linked to self-confidence. Low self-esteem, low confidence. I want you to listen to me now. Low self-esteem is largely responsible for criminal behavior. Again, low self-esteem is largely responsible for criminal behavior. There is a man who was just recently sentenced to 8 years in prison because he did not have the strength to tell his friend that he did not want to accompany him on a drug deal. He followed this man, went with this man. He was his friend. He should have told his friend no, he didn't want to do it. Well, the friend ended up killing someone. So now he has to go to prison for 38 years of his life. And this boy is only 23 years old. If you do not want to do something, say no and leave the area. Don't explain why you don't want to do something. Just say no and leave. Do not allow anyone to talk you into criminal behavior. If you don't have a situation, say no and run away. Do not allow your friends to push you into behaviors that you do not want. Now, people with high self-esteem, they like themselves. They accept themselves. They accept the fact that they're not perfect. They accept the fact that not everyone is going to like them. And also they accept the fact that they don't care. In their minds, there is not a lot of internal dialogue about what they must do to fix themselves. They are confident in their decision making. They do not constantly ask others what they should or should not do in various situations. These people ask for what they want. Many tend to be leaders, whereas people with low self-esteem feel bad all the time about themselves. They're often hard on themselves. They constantly criticize themselves, and they constantly think they're not good enough. Now, self-esteem is developed during early childhood, during a person's inner relationships with their parents, teachers, siblings, and other relatives and friends. The people in our lives can affect how we feel about ourselves. When they focus on what's good about us, we feel good about ourselves. When these people focus on what we cannot do well, then we feel bad about ourselves. When our parents are patient, when we make mistakes, we learn to accept ourselves. When we have friends and get along, we feel liked. But if adults scold more than they praise, it's hard for a child to feel good about themselves. Bullying and mean teasing by siblings or peers can hurt self-esteem also. Harsh words can stick and become part of how one thinks about themselves. The internal dialogue, that is the voice in your head, the things you say to yourself play a big part in how you feel about yourself. Thinking I'm a loser or I'll never make friends. These thoughts and sayings will hurt your self-esteem. There are other ways to think about the same thing. I didn't win this time, but maybe next time I'll win. Maybe I can make some friends on the next time I go out. This voice is much more helpful. It helps you feel okay, and it could turn out to be true. Sometimes the voice in your head is based on harsh words that others have said or on bad times we have faced. Sometimes the voice is just us being hard on ourselves. But we can change the voice in our head. We can learn to think better about ourselves. Learning to do things. We feel good when we learn to read, when we learn to add or draw or build or play a sport or play music or write an essay or ride a bike, setting the table or washing a car, helping a friend or walk a dog. Each thing you learn and do is a chance to feel good about yourself. So step back and look what you can do. Let yourself be happy with the things that you succeed in doing. Sometimes we are just too hard on ourselves. We don't accept that what we do good and the fact that we are not perfect. If we think it's not really any good, it's not perfect, or I can't do it well, we miss the chance of building self-esteem. If your self-esteem is low, you can do things to feel better about yourself. It is never too late. Here are some tips to raise your self-esteem. Be with people who honestly treat you well. Not just talk about treating you well, but actually treat you decently. Some people act in ways that tear you down. Others lift you up, but what they say and do are two different things. Learn to tell the difference. Choose friends who help you feel okay about yourself. Find people you can be yourself with. Be that type of friend to others. Say helpful things to yourself. Tune in to the voice in your head. It may be too critical. Are you too hard on yourself? For a few days, write down some of the things you say to yourself. Look over this list. Are these things you say to yourself good or bad? Are these some of the things that you would say to a good friend? If not, rewrite them in a way that's true, fair, and kind. Then read these new phrases to yourself. Do it until it's more of a habit to think this way. Accept what's not perfect. It's always good to do your best when you can. But when you think you need to be perfect, you can't feel good about yourself. You will always feel less. Accept your best. Let yourself feel good about your best. Ask for help when you need it. And if you can't get past the need to be perfect, continuously pay attention to the times when you are telling yourself you have to be perfect. Now you can set goals for yourself and work toward them. If you want to feel good about yourself, do things that are good for you. Maybe you want to eat a healthier diet or get more fit or study better. Make these a goal. Then make a plan on how to do it. Stick with your plan. Track your progress. Be proud of what you've done so far. Say to yourself, I've been following my plan to work out every day for 45 minutes. I feel good about that. I know I can keep it up. Focus on what goes well. Are you being used to talking about problems that you are always seeing? It's easy to get up caught in a rut of always talking about what is wrong. But unless you balance it with something's good, you will always make yourself feel bad. Next time, catch yourself when you complain about yourself or the day. Find something that went well that day. You can give and help. Giving is one of the best ways to build self-esteem. You can tutor a classmate, help clean up your neighborhood, walk for a good cause, help out at a home or a school. Make it a habit just to be kind and fair. This does not mean you have to take abuse from people who are crude or bullies. Do things that make you feel proud of the kind of person that you are. When you do things that make a difference, even a small thing, your self-esteem will grow. Remember, we can learn best when we repeat information to ourselves. Repetition is an excellent element in learning, and in order to build self esteem, we must understand the dynamics of how we view ourselves and what tools we can use to stop the torment of beating up on ourselves every day that we make a mistake or think someone does not like us. Remember, the key is repetition. Hi, I decided that at the end of every show for the next year, I would share excerpts from a book that I believe would enhance your life and make you a stronger thinker and problem solver. All characteristics that will help you win at life and raise stronger and healthy children. Many of you turn your nose up at reading, or you snub the advice that you must read in life to succeed, or you compare the cost of a book to getting a new pair of shoes or getting your hair done or your nails done. The reason why you make these cost comparisons is because you do not truly value a book. A book is a magnificent instrument that can change the course of your life and the lives of your children. In later shows, I plan to discuss with you how a book changed the lives of certain people. I understand that you do not earn a lot of money, and this money is valuable to you because of all the things you see advertised that you desire, and you do not want to spend a lot of money on a book. A new pair of shoes is more valuable to you than a book. If you truly cannot afford a book, then you need to go to the library and take your children with you for a day of reading. You must gird your loins and proceed at educating yourself. Some of you seem to think that having a conversation with your stupid girlfriend or your stupid boyfriend will help you more than reading a book, when actually having a conversation with your loudmouth girlfriend or loudmouth boyfriend is merely a cathartic, allowing you to blow off steam and proclaim how life has been so unfair to you. What you do not realize is that the advice coming from your do nothing girlfriend or your do nothing boyfriend is advice coming from a fool. Your do nothing girlfriend is a sexual opportunist looking for a man she can impress with her body. When her vagina fails her, what will your girlfriend do but go to work at McDonald's or Wendy's at the age of 60 and continue to spread her ignorance at church? Her daughter will be on the street and her son in prison. She will never realize that her life is the result of the decision she made not to educate herself through reading. All her life, she felt that she had something better to do than reading. She had something better to do than reading with her children. She had something better to do than working with her children. And that was going to the bar, trying to entertain a man, or trying to find some man that would buy her a pair of shoes. A man spending money on her was more important than educating herself. In later shows, I'm going to spend a great deal of time giving you some examples of fools. These are people who think they are smart, willing to trade their body and integrity for a dollar bill. These people end up in the cemetery after lamenting each and every day of their lives about their unfulfilled dreams. Do not be upset by the use of the word fool. You tell me if a woman is not a fool to instruct her grandson to kill her husband for a $25,000 life insurance. Let that sink in for a moment. Instead of instructing her grandson to make something of his life, the grandmother instructs her grandson to become a murderer, to kill his grandfather. I have this anecdotal advice for you about reading. Listen to this short true story. A friend and I were talking. She said a woman she knew called her and sought to renew their friendship. During their conversation, the woman told my friend that President Trump had done so much for black people, and that's why she voted for him in 2016, and she was going to vote for him again in the upcoming election. My friend asked her a question. She said, "Tell me some of the things that Trump has done for black people." The woman said, "A whole lot." My friend persisted and asked her to name one thing that Trump had done for black people. The woman could not. The woman kept using the phrase "a whole lot of things." My friend said after a while she stopped talking. Finally, the conversation was over and my friend hung up. My friend said, as she hung up, she made up her mind right then that she would never renew her friendship with this woman. Now ask yourself why. Why would she not renew her friendship with this woman? You can answer this question in two words. The woman was a poor thinker. She never investigated anything that was told to her. Whether you know it or not, a person who is a poor thinker, who does not examine his or her thinking, is a very dangerous person indeed. Think about it. Today we will be discussing the book, What You Must Do to Win. This is an excellent read, and after you finish reading it, you will enjoy it, but you must put some of the ideas that the author talks about into practice. Reading is not enough. You must put these ideas into practice. Toward the end of the book, What You Must Do to Win, the author has this to say. She says the Bible is the greatest self-help and how-to book ever written. She goes on to say, but have you paid any attention to its instructions, or are you waiting until you are old, bald, and infirmed before consulting God? Are you waiting for the hour of your death before saying, God, I would like to go to heaven? Is there room up there for me? What if God turns to you and says, I never knew you? Then what? You will never be with him in paradise. Therefore, an unexamined life is unworthy of you. You need to consider your motivation when you are dealing with other people. Examine why you give one grandchild more money than you do the other grandchildren. Read and find out what God has to say about favoritism, jealousy, envy, and anger. Why do you cut people off when you're driving or speed up when the man in front of you turns on his turn signal? Why are you so hateful every time a woman walks past you and her breasts are larger than yours? Why are your thoughts filled with evilness and self-loathing? Read and find out what God has to say about your envy and jealousy. Where has your humility gone? There is no light left in your spirit. Why can't you get along with your coworkers and your neighbors? Why is there so much strife in your life? Is your son in prison? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit there and wring your hands, or are you going to consult God for leadership ideas? Why have all your friends left you behind? What about the children born on the other side of the blanket, sir? Are you going to die and not acknowledge that you are their father? Just what are you going to do? More of the same, or are you going to go to God for advice and change your life? What you need to do is read, meet yourself, and change. If you are allowing emotions to rule your life rather than God's word, then you need to change. If you can sit and watch the news at night and listen to what man has to say, surely you can give a little time to God. Is there nothing you can do for God except go to church and tell the pastor, I really enjoyed your sermon, sir? How long are you going to go through life sucking up the food and air that God provided and you do nothing for God? Putting your 50 cents into the collection plate does not fulfill your obligation to God or the life he provided you. When you breathe your last breath, there is no more time to change. You need to consider that. There was a man in prison in Texas for 30 years to life. He was innocent. The innocent man was in prison and the guilty man was outside drinking beer and sunning himself. He, the killer, had made a bargain with the prosecutor to testify against the innocent man. The innocent man in Texas kept writing people until finally one of his letters reached an elderly woman. Now, for many, this woman was too old to be doing anything for anyone. Nevertheless, the woman believed the man who was in prison, and she began a writing campaign of her own. Finally, her letters reached a group of lawyers who agreed to re-examine the case. Their re-examination and the legal fight led to the innocent man being freed. What would have happened to this man if that woman had not believed she could make a difference? What would have happened to this innocent man if this woman did not believe she could do something to help God? There was an innocent man in prison in Alaska. A 78-year-old woman heard about his case and began writing lawyers to get him some help. He too was freed because a 78-year-old woman believed in herself and she believed that her life mattered. Is there not anything you can do for the Lord besides going to church and saying amen? Just because you are on the building committee does not make you a servant of the Lord. God said, help your fellow man, not go to church and be a deacon parading up and down around the church in your uniform, pretending to be important. Is there not anything you can think to do for the Lord besides praying? How long are you going to go to church, listening to the choir and having a good time? One of the world's greatest resistance movements was the Montgomery bus boycott. People put their lives on the line for one another. They faced an evil and they used their bodies to stand in the path of that evilness. Their actions changed the world. Their actions told people everywhere, even a poor man has power. You have power, but you do not use your power. You continue to believe what other men have told you. So every day, you sit with your cigarettes and drink away your life, imagining what you could do with your life if only such and such would happen. There are children suffering all over this world. Is there nothing you can do for the Lord to alleviate their suffering? God is not impressed that you are not a deacon in your church, nor is he impressed that you are a member of the usher board. What have you done for him? Being an usher or a deacon is a man-made assignment. Do you think that that is all God wants you to do for him, is to be a deacon or an usher at church? The second greatest commandment is love thy neighbor as thyself. Have you done this? Are you saying that there are no more possibilities to your life except being a deacon and an usher? What are you going to do today that is different than what you did yesterday? Are you going to sit and continue to brood over the circumstances of your life? Or are you going to take charge of your life and read a book to change? Are you going to allow God's word to heal your mind and cause action in your life? There is always one last morsel that you can snatch from life. God said, choose life. To do this, you must believe and you must stand up to change. Do not let negative people and toxic relationships keep you from realizing your dreams. You can be a better person. You must stop doing what you're doing and decide on conducting a better life. The drinking, the smoking, the snorting coke, lusting after someone else's boyfriend or husband or wife, and sexting every time you get a chance signifies that you have no respect for yourself or your children or anyone else. You have given up. You do not know how to manage your life. Your self-image is out of sync. How low are you going to go before you change? Your children will not survive if you do not change. Take a good look at your children. They will not have a future if you do not change. Are you not tired of seeing men and boys being carted off to prison for lack of knowledge or opportunity? Are you not tired of seeing women stand on the corner prostituting themselves? Are you not tired of envying other people and saying to yourself, I wish I were them? Stop fantasizing. Stop being ashamed of yourself because you're poorly educated or afraid or you don't look like someone else. Your feet are too big, your ears are too big, or your breasts are too small, and your butt is too small. Stand up to life and change. Change is hard, but why die expressing regret? Do you know that negative thought and the negative dialogue that we conduct with ourselves every day can lead to murder because it's based on envy, hatred, and jealousy? I'm going to talk to you about how self dialogue has led to murder.
You have three choices. You can sit on your couch and do nothing. You can participate sometime hardly doing anything. Or you can step into the future that you designed. The decision is yours. What are you waiting for? You either stand up for yourself with the chance of winning or failing, or grow old, mean, bitter, and hateful, driving your children to run from home or move to another state because of your archaic ideas. Time is running out. What are you going to do?
Join us at the Women of Courage show every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. for information that will change your life. You can also visit us at our website, touchedbythelight.us.